Well, Dana, I think that mood that we just saw from you kind of set the tone for this whole season. How soon in the night after you're watching these fights do you sort of decide, what you want out of these fighters?
I know what I want. I mean, listen, me, you, and the rest of the world, almost every Saturday sit ringside at some of the best fights you'll ever see. We go out and we put all this time and effort into finding the most talented unsigned guys, in the world. And I don't give a shit what you did yesterday, 2 years ago, and throughout the rest of your career. Right here, right now, show me, show the media members that are here, and show the rest of the world who you are. Who are you? And listen, every night is not going to be your night, but fucking Tuesday night better be. Tuesday night better be your night. I mean, if you look at some of the people that have come off this show, the O'Malleys, the Kevin Hollands, the Macy Barbers, the list goes on and on. This is a huge opportunity for these kids. And it's like, all right, you had a shitty first round. Well, let's get after it on the second round. You know what I mean? Let's get after it on the third round. I saw none of that tonight. I saw nobody trying until Pyfer, And even when their fights were over, nobody was overly excited. Nobody thought they delivered tonight. Nobody was acting like they felt like they, were on to bigger things. I didn't feel that at all. And you know how hard it is to get Lorenzo Fertitta out of the house? I get him out of the house. I said, you listen to me. You got to come to these things. They're unbelievable. They're insane. And then this happens tonight. I said, I owe you one.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. I did look over and I saw him there. I saw Epstein over there as well. It was like the old gang back together.
Yeah.
Is that just he just brought him out? You want to see him, or you guys got things in the work?
No, I called him. I called him and said, come out tonight. I tell him, you can't get that guy out. He doesn't go out. I got him out.
Well, I know as a you mentioned the fighters that have come out here and what they've sort of done. I know that's got to be a point of pride in what this show means to you and what it means for the organization, the kind of fighters that you guys have been able to find and what they went on to do. So how happy are you that the season's back up and running and here we are again with another season?
Yeah, you guys have heard me say over the last 6 seasons, I could do this every Tuesday for the rest of my life. I love it. What I love about these fights is they're fast, they're right to the point. There's no frills, no bullshit. They walk, they get in the octagon. And usually we see some of the most entertaining, exciting fights, you could possibly see without being in the UFC. Not tonight.
Well, I do want to ask you about one of the fighters that we didn't get to see that I think a lot of people were looking at, Basharat, I'm sorry if I butchered his name, who was coming in on a 12-fight win streak, but his opponent came in 10 pounds over. I don't know if this is a guy that you guys have already decided to bring him back, and I know some people were wondering, since he came in and made weight, I know he's not under contract, but a lot of people are like, I wonder if this guy's going to get show money. How do you treat a fighter
if a guy came here, made weight, he'll get his show money. 100%.
He'll get his show money.
Yeah.
Do you know if you guys are actively trying to book him back in, or is that something you guys will think about later, whether you're going to try to bring him back in? Just because he was 12-0, I think a lot of people were excited to see this guy out of this lineup of the card. I don't know if this is a guy that you've already know for sure is rebooked, or...
Yeah, I don't know what the plan is for him yet.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that question.
I know one of the times I've asked you before, and I'm sure you probably don't have a particular answer. Are there any particular weight classes that you guys are really focusing on in a season, or do you guys come in there with a complete open mind, just let whatever weight class and let the fighters kind of intrigue you, that you guys don't have a notion? Because fighters turn over all the time. Yeah.
We focus on potential. We focus on guys with potential. Could be, they're undefeated. Could be they're on a great win streak. Could be they just looked amazing in their last performance. They look at a lot of different things.
Well, speaking of potential and looking at last performance, I'll take you back to London since we didn't hear from you. Paddy Pimblett, this kid, what a star he's sort of becoming and what he's sort of bringing to that market. What are your thoughts on his performance and on his star power? And is this the kind of kid that you think has future championship possibilities?
Yeah, I mean, this kid, to talk about championship stuff right now, it's a little too soon. But, he's got that Conor McGregor vibe, man. When he walks out, when he's in the arena, the way that the fans receive him, the way that the media covers him, the way that the people who search for content, just on my, hey Brian, is Brian in here? Hey Brian, give me my phone real quick. I want to check something. I want to show you guys this. It's pretty amazing. Thanks, bro. So on my Instagram, this is me, not UFC or whatever. So Paddy Pimblett's face-off, right? I'll give you an example. So the main event, the heavyweights, Blades, and did 203,000 views on my Instagram. Paddy Pimblett's face-off did 1.7 million.
It's amazing.
Isn't that crazy? So then, I'll give you another example. Fuck It Friday is massive. Massive. It did 1.3 million on mine. And what was the other Paddy Pimblett thing that did big on mine? There was another one. Oh no, it was Molly drinking the howler head with the thing on. That did 2 million. So those two together, I mean, yeah, they're powerful, man.
I love it. You know, last one for me, you know, I got to bring up, you know, one of the guys that I know over the years has meant a lot to you, but has also been a headache over times. Finally, Nate Diaz has this last fight coming up with Chimaev. What was the thought process around that booking? And I also heard that it was Nate that asked for that fighting. Is that true? And what was the thought process around that? Or was this a guy that you guys wanted to put him up against?
Yeah, I care about Nate a lot. I like Nate. And Nate came in here before that, long before that fight was ever made. And we were talking about it being his last fight. And, you know, I said, listen, kid, you think about the wars that Nate Diaz has put on and the incredible fights and the big fights that he's done with us. Go do whatever you want to do, man. But, you know, getting a fight done with him isn't as easy as it seems. Everybody's like, well, why don't you make a fight? Well, why don't you make a fight? Well, he asked for Francis Ngannou, you know, and I could go on forever, but I won't. We got it done. That's the fight he wanted. We made it, and here we are. And it's a good fight. It's a fight that people will want to see. It's a fight that people will be interested in. So we're going to do it.
That being said, if this is the last fight, if Nate doesn't come back in the future, if he doesn't come back asking for another fight, that being said, is this sad that this is the possible of billing Nate Diaz's last fight in the UFC?
I mean, it's always sad. I mean, you know, Jessica I just laid her gloves down. Cowboy just laid his gloves down and came and said, you know, thank you to me a couple days ago. And, you know, it's one of those things in pro sports that sucks. You know, it eventually comes to an end. And my big thing is just it's all about getting people out at the right time. You know, some you do and some you don't, because you know they're able to do whatever they want to do. So if they want to go and continue to fight, that's up to them. But I like when we see people go at the right time. But yes, at the same time, it's sad.
Right, and I guess last for me, I kind of forgot that I was going to ask. Poirier's manager, Kiki Golson, looks like he told ESPN it sounds like Michael Chandler is next. Is that one that you guys are trying to make happen?
That's who he wants. He wants Michael Chandler.
Yeah.
And I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah. Nothing, no talks of, you guys haven't reached out to either one to try to make anything happen?
Nothing's done, no.
Gotcha. Thanks, Dana.
Thank you.
Dana, right here.
Yep.
You know, to kind of take some extra positives out of the night, you know, maybe wasn't the best, but do you think that sometimes events like this could be needed to maybe at least motivate everyone for next week and, you know, relight a fire?
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so. And it's not even about motivating. It's this. You know what you're coming here for. You know what you're showing up here for. You know what this show is all about. And more than anything, forget about me. Do it for yourself. Do this for yourself. When we're in the war room, if I was in the war room with you guys right now showing you the board, right? So next to fighters' names, we have the Ultimate Fighter, the Contender Series, or Looking for a Fight, where these kids come from. Most of that board is filled with Contender Series kids. And I mean, this is it, man. This is, if you really want to be in the UFC and you want your name out there and you want people to know who you are, you want to walk in and be able to get sponsors and all the things that go along with professional fighting, perform on Tuesday night.
And I mean, somebody who didn't stay tonight was William Souza yesterday, who missed weight by 10 pounds. Just what did you make of that whole thing? Obviously, that's a big amount to miss by and didn't get to fight. Like, any explanation for all that?
I'm not involved in any of this stuff. I don't want to know anything that goes on over here until I walk in and sit down. I knew that somebody missed weight by a big number, but I don't get involved in any of that stuff. I literally come in this place with a clean slate, zero bias, no whatever when I sit down, you know, because you know, there was a Sarah Longo guy here tonight. I'm really good friends with Matt Serra. You know what I mean? And just little things like that that could possibly sway me, you know what I mean? Or make me, oh, this is Matt's, you know what I mean? I don't want to know any of that shit. I want to see who you are tonight on Tuesday night. Show me who you are right now. No matter where you're from, who you're with, or what you've done in the past.
Yeah. Fair enough. And want to get some updates on some other stuff. You mentioned Francis Ngannou, who obviously isn't going to fight Nate Diaz next, but is there any kind of traction there?
No, I got nothing with him yet. He's still trying to figure out his knee and when he's going to be ready to fight. So until he gets the clear from the doctor, nothing with him.
All right, and you guys recently added, just the other day, Marina Rodriguez versus Amanda Lemos to that stacked 280 card. Does that mean that Carla Whaley could potentially...
The stacked what card?
UFC 280.
Yeah.
Abu Dhabi. Is
Yep.
Carla and Whaley?
How ridiculous is that card?
It's looking crazy.
It's going to be so fun.
Is that possible, though, Whaley?
There's a lot of things still possible on that card. As stacked as that card is, I was in there today. There's like, we didn't have matchmaking today. My whole day got fucked up today. But we'll have matchmaking tomorrow. And there's still 3 or 4 fights to be made on that card. So, yeah, we've been having fun with that one.
So the title is possible? Add another title?
Title? No.
Okay.
There won't be another title.
Okay, all right. And I wanted to get clarity on the whole crazy situation with Momo Fiore's fight. Has just moved from Paris to that card too. She was fighting Chookagian first, then it went to Jessica Andrade, and then back to Chookagian. Like, what happened with that whole fight?
Yeah, that I don't know either. I'm not sure what happened. Yeah, I'd have to have Sean or Mick on that one. I don't know.
All right, and last for me, buddy Vince McMahon retired the other day. Just curious, thoughts on that and any wacky stories with a guy like Vince.
I got
share?
Stories about Vince for days. But yeah, what that guy built and what he's done is incredible. He's been doing it for 50 plus years. I watched that stuff as a kid and then, still be here doing it now. He's phenomenal. He's a killer. He's buried the hatchet in my back a few times. But that's what you're dealing with. It's not like, you don't deal with a killer and not expect him to try to kill you. Yeah, I have nothing but respect for Vince, though.
Did you get to meet with him at 276? Because he was there. Right?
His what?
Did you get to meet with him at UFC 276? Because he showed up for it.
Him being there?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they reached out to me and said that he wanted to come to the fight. And I gave him much better seats than he gave me when I went to see Ronda. That dude had me in the fucking... I'm not even shitting you. First of all, I just told this story today to somebody, but Ronda says, you have to be at this event. I want you to be there and all this. I said, Ronda, I wouldn't miss it for the world. She's like, all right, I'm going to let them know you're coming. Cool. I show up. It's in New Orleans. I fly down to fucking New Orleans. I go up to, no going in the back and any of that shit. Yeah, they're at the will call window for you. I go to the fucking will call window, and yeah, we don't have tickets for you. I call some people. Oh, yeah, we found them. Okay, we got your tickets. When I tell you, I was in the fucking rafters. Brian was with me, right? Brian was with me. We're in the fucking rafters. Tell me if this is fucking not true or not true. People were coming up to me and going, why are you sitting in these seats? I said, well, this is where they sat me, so fuck them. I'm going to sit right here. And then I think it was Pat McAfee today, says, well, no, you had to be in decent seats. You were on camera. The cameraman had to fucking crawl over about 75 people, kick somebody out of his fucking seat 3 rows ahead of me so he could just get that shot. Yeah, they They let me know what they thought of me at that event.
Hey, maybe Triple H will treat you better.
Huh?
Maybe Triple H will treat you better.
Triple H and Stephanie were there too. It's not like it was just Vince. This wasn't 25 years ago. This was like fucking 2 years ago. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Dana.
Hey, Dana, I just have one for you.
And one more thing. So when you run an event like we run, and you have people that you know that are coming, that you give a shit about or respect, you make sure that they are fucking taken care of, and it's that. So when you show up to an event like that, and this is what I do. This is what I do for a living for the last fucking 23 years. Message received. You know what I mean? And there's no hard feelings. I get it. Vince is like that, and that's the way he is. And, you know, I sat in my fucking seats and I watched the whole event. And then we left.
If I could springboard off that really
We're
quick,
right on it.
then.
Yeah.
Did you see kind of the incident? I guess Josh Emmett was very unhappy with his seats recently.
Oh, of course you got to come back with that one.
Hey.
First of all, Uriah Faber was not up to speed on what happened with that event. So all these fighters get tickets. How many fighters have you heard say, oh my God, they fucking put me up in the fucking, they did this and that? You never hear that. You know why? Because it never fucking happens. And I'm not saying we're fucking perfect, because we're not. We make mistakes here and there. But what happened was Josh Emmett gets his tickets, his fighter tickets from us. He also got tickets from his sponsor. He took the tickets from his sponsor, not the tickets from us. That's where his sponsor seats were.
All right, thanks, Dana.
Yep.
Hopefully this is a fun one. Over the weekend, ACA manager or promoter went into the octagon and stopped a fight because it was boring. Was wondering if you've ever...
Wait, what happened? Who did this?
So the ACA promoter went into the octagon, or the cage, in the middle of a fight.
Did you say Issei?
ACA.
ACA, okay.
Because the fight was boring, he wasn't enjoying it. Went in and disqualified both fighters. I'm just curious.
That is fucking awesome. That is, props to that guy. Yes. Highly, incredibly unprofessional, but fucking awesome at the same time. Was it really a boring fight?
I think so, yeah. I didn't see it.
Yeah, well, that gives me some fucking ideas for next Tuesday. Believe me, there's been days that I've wanted to throw a chair in there. But yeah, you just got to sit there and take it. Or get up and go to the back and sit in your room. One of those two things is probably what the guy at ACA should have done. But good for him.
Thank you.
Dana, two for me in the back. Way back
Hey.
there. So after the first fight, Casas said that was just 10% from him. Have you ever heard a fighter say that they've given just 10%? And what were you thinking at that time when he said that?
So what I'm gonna dial that up to is that language barrier, and he meant, I'm being positive here, cup half full. He meant you only saw 10% of what this guy's capable of and what he could possibly do in the future. Because if what he really meant is what, I mean, you guys all got to remember when Usman came out of the octagon and said, well, that was only 30%. I fucking crucified him for months. So, but he was my fighter. So I'm going to give this kid the benefit of the doubt. And to be fair to these kids that fought here tonight, there were some talented kids. I mean, these kids were talented. Everybody's fucking talented that shows up here every Tuesday for 10 weeks. They're all talented, right? Show us what you got. Show us who you are. I'm not saying be stupid and go out there and throw the windmill and, you know, show us who you are. You're either good enough to be in the UFC or you're not. If you are, show that to us.
Well, that was very benevolent of you. Second question for me, there's a lot of talk now ratcheting up between McGregor and Floyd Mayweather.
All bullshit. Those guys are just talking on social media like they do. The Daily Mirror or whatever the hell that tabloid is called is full of the shit.
What would it take for you to get involved in that conversation?
Dementia?
Hey, Dana.
Yeah.
With Nate Diaz on his way out, how close were you guys to making the Conor versus Nate trilogy?
Conor's not ready yet. You know, Conor's leg isn't healed yet. You know, Nate could obviously sit around and wait for that. But he doesn't want it. I don't know what he's got planned or what he's thinking, but right here, right now, he's ready to fight. He wants to go, and we're going.
Was there ever a chance of it happening in years past?
Was there ever what?
A chance of that trilogy happening last year or the year before?
I mean, that's one of those fights you could do any time. But no, it never worked out that way. And listen, if you get two guys like Conor and Nate who want to fight each other bad enough, it ends up happening. You know what I mean?
If it never happens, is that fight is going to go down as like one of the fights that you wish would have happened?
No, it's not like I'm like, oh God, I never got the chance to make number 3. You know, the first 2 were awesome. The first round, that first round with Conor and Nate in the first fight was insane. Conor was landing these crazy bombs and all this stuff. Then Diaz comes out in that second round, and it just, I mean, it was madness. And then the second fight was awesome. So, you know, if it happens, it happens. But we got enough out of the first 2. It was awesome.
I wanted to touch on UFC 280 again. Peter Yan versus Sean O'Malley got booked. What was the thinking of?
Yeah. So. You know, we were in matchmaking, and Sean Shelby actually came up with that fight. Sean Shelby wanted that fight. I said, are you out of your mind? You don't make that fight now, this and that. He told me why you make it, and O'Malley's ready. You know, O'Malley's about to be 28 years old in October, in his absolute prime right now, hits like a truck. You know, he ended up selling me on it, and more importantly, both guys wanted it. And even more important than that, when we announced it, everybody went crazy and loves it. And even more important than that, it should be fucking a really good fight. So,
is there a chance that UFC 280 gets free like the last Fight Island card was? Free on ESPN Plus?
Is there any chance that card is going to be free on ESPN Plus?
Yeah, like UFC 267 was last year?
I don't know. I don't think so, though. I don't know. I highly doubt it. The card's really good.
Understandable. And then finally for me, with Paddy Pimblett, when do you start thinking of like him headlining a fight night? Like, is that next for him?
It's a great question. I think what we do next is we take him to either Boston or New York, and he ends up on pay-per-view, and then you bring him to Vegas.
I like it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Dana.
Hi.
Could you give me your thoughts about Charles against Islam in Abu Dhabi? And I would like to ask you, how hard was the negotiation since Charles is not the official champion anymore in terms of on pay-per-view and stuff like that?
I don't know the first question you asked me, but the second question, Charles Oliveira is one of the greatest kids ever to deal with, you know, and he's an absolute warrior and a stud, and getting him to take fights is never hard. There's never a hard negotiation. That kid is always ready to fight. He's one of the best kids that we've ever dealt with. What was the first question?
Could you give me your thoughts about the fight?
What are your thoughts about the fight?
Oh, yeah. Hey, this is that fight. You know, Habib has said for a very long time that Islam Makhachev is the best in the world, and he's going to be the next world champion. He's going to dominate that division the way that he did. You got to get through Charles Oliveira first. You know what I mean? Charles Oliveira is no walkover. This kid's a stud. Technically, he's not the champion, but to all of us, he is the champion. I'm very excited for that fight. Very excited for that fight. Thank you, guys. Oh, go ahead.
Just a quick one. Dana, thanks for taking the time. How's everything trending for this weekend's double title fight pay-per-view? How's everything looking for Texas?
How's the trending? Yeah, it was, first of all, ticket sales, we're going to sell out again. This is going to be our 21st sellout. You know, I won't know till we get closer if we break any arena records or any of that kind of stuff. And then the pay-per-view is trending well. We'll get better ideas of how it's really going to do Thursday and Friday.
Excellent.
But, I mean, if you're a fight fan, Amanda Nunes is the GOAT. She's knocked out 13 women, you know, a few of them being some of the, you know, the biggest names and the best ever in the history of the sport. And Juliana Pena said she was going to beat her. Everybody laughed at her. Nobody believed that it could happen, and she fucking did it. And she says she's going to do it again. So I am so excited to see. I know what Juliana's showing up, what Amanda is going to show up, and how's this fight going to go down. It's a very, when you talk about women's fights, what makes this one so exciting is that both of these women can finish women, have the power to finish.
No doubt. And obviously, The Ultimate Fighter just kind of took that to the next level, getting those girls that exposure, people get emotionally invested.
Yeah, well, that didn't hurt. I mean, The Ultimate Fighter, I think this is one of those fights that people are going to be excited about anyway. That's why we did those two as The Ultimate Fighter.
Excellent. And let me circle back real quick to Josh Emmett. Emmett Rodriguez, can you clear up anybody?
Nothing yet, no.
Okay. And
But like I said before, I don't know how that whole thing's going to play out in that division, but yeah, that's a fight that makes sense to me too.
And lastly, can you chime in a little bit on that talk with Cowboy Cerrone? One of the, you know, most fun fights, period. People recognize him in the WEC, UFC. How was it sitting down with him and just kind of like, you know, wishing him well?
I love the kid. You know, anything that Cowboy Cerrone has ever needed from me or for the company, we've been there. And I mean, basically lives in the parking lot over there. I mean, the kid's had his trailer over there for like fucking 2 years or something, right? Yeah, we love him. And just because he retired, he can keep his trailer over there and he can stay over there as long as he wants to. I don't give a shit. He's done a lot of great things for this company and for the sport. And yeah, I love him.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Dana, just to follow up, on 277, there's a press conference on Thursday. Are you going to be there?
I'll be there.
You'll be at the press conference?
I'm either flying out tomorrow night or Thursday morning.
Okay, perfect.
All right, boys and girls. You done with me? Have a great night. Thanks for coming tonight. I apologize.